Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here as part of Rapyd Talks during the Singapore Fintech Festival. We're doing this in collaboration with the Working Capital, and we've had a series of these sessions throughout this week. And some of these will be available for you to watch on our Rapyd's YouTube channel as well. I am Lakshmi. I've been with Rapyd for a year, and I am responsible for program management here for the APAC region. I deal with network expansion. I work with some of our enterprise clients, and I also work on card issuing operations. And today, I'm going to talk to you about card issuing, what it is at a very high level, what it used to be, how it has evolved, and what has changed in the card issuing landscape. And then cover some interesting use cases that have come up in the last few years, and then finish it off with what it would take for you to issue cards. So that's the agenda, and I'll get started with what is card issuing. Simply put, it is the process of enabling businesses to be able to issue cards, whether it's physical, plastic, or virtual, in one of the card schemes, be it Visa or MasterCard, in order for the business's own customers to be able to transact on those networks. Put another way, it's the process of enabling businesses to bake in financial services as part of their offerings by enabling them to issue cards in a rather simple manner. Before we get into what it is today, I want to talk to you a little bit about what it used to be maybe a decade ago. Card issuing in the old days was essentially a local bank partnering with maybe a brand like an airline or a soccer team in order for them to issue cards with the brand's logo on the front of the card. It was not really a game changer because it didn't change the product in any way. It was the same product that the bank was offering, but they were now selling to the airline's customers or the soccer team fans. So what it would take was a marketing program from the bank side and a revenue share program for the brand side. So that's what was typically the use case of issuing plastics for maybe like 10 years ago. Additional challenges that I can enumerate: it wasn't available in all geographies. Let's say you had a business and you were able to get on an integration with a bank and issue some cards in that particular geography. And then now you want to expand to another one. You had to start this process from scratch over there, right? So it was not a one solution. It had to be repeated multiple times, complex. There's also fees. So if you need to be able to issue cards, there was bin management, there was processors, there was infrastructure set up, and then there was also network fees, right? If you were not in the business of doing this, or if you're not big enough or an enterprise, it could get costly very, very quickly. Again, network relationships are not simple. There's guidelines, there's scheme rules, there's all sorts of regulations and reporting that come into play as soon as you get started with the network relationships. And finally, there was no simple solution to do this, right? Because it was largely done by enterprise clients, there was a bespoke solution that was done for each and every integration. It was highly customized, and if you did one for the airline, it wasn't something that you could lift and shift and do it for a soccer team. It had to be completely thought through again. So what's changed? What has changed is schemes like MasterCard and Visa have realized that they've built this incredible infrastructure that allows for real-time payments, a really well-understood process of doing this. Everybody in this room knows how to make a payment with a Visa or a MasterCard. And there's a well-understood settlement process. You know where the money is coming from. You know where the money is going to. And all of this business has been growing. The scheme has been growing at a rate of a fairly good rate, but at the rate of e-commerce. And now e-commerce is only about 5 trillion, or less than that actually, of the 200 trillion global economy. So schemes are looking to tap into that additional potential for growth. They're trying to unlock opportunities and looking for partners that can enable that. And these business models and new users and new segments that can now be part of the card rail network. So in order, like maybe these new businesses could be gig economies, they could be B2B marketplaces, they could be alternative finance, and the list is actually, we're just getting started on this front. So we're in what we consider the early stages of democratizing the process of card issuing. Card issuing is complex, and there's a lot of regulations that come with it. So there are barriers to being a card issuer, whether it is you need a license to do this, or are you a financial services company? Is that part of your core strength or not? Do you have the ability to process tremendous amount of data that has to flow through the whole 5-party model? Are you able to do financial reconciliation at scale? Are you able to do risk management? Because as soon as you say payments, there's fraud that comes along with it, right? So in order to build out this ecosystem, you need to have these abilities to be a card issuer. Now, if you're in the business of delivering food or ferrying people from point A to point B, we think you would be better served by focusing on your core strengths, your customers, and not reinventing the wheel when it comes to issuing cards. You should absolutely leverage a platform company that has already done a bunch of this legwork and has all the paperwork in place, and take their support, partner with a card issuing platform in order to issue cards. What are some of the benefits of this platform company that can do card issuing, right? There are multiple, but I'm going to focus on 3 primary ones that I think are the most relevant here. The first one is, as a business, what you need to do is always to focus on what your value proposition is and what your core strengths are and what your customer needs are, right? If you want to issue cards to fulfill any of those, we think it is better for you to leverage a platform that has built APIs for it and makes this interoperable with already existing setup that you may have. The other aspect of using APIs is it makes the implementation very simple and ongoing operations also quite simple. The second benefit of using a cloud issuing platform is you will have an end-to-end solution with one integration. Previously, when you think of card issuing, user onboarding, you're basically filling out a paper form, sending it to someone, and then they do identity verification, and then they issue cards, and then somebody else altogether is doing the processing, right? But if you look at a platform company these days, the user onboarding, the identity verification, knowing your customer, processing, getting connected with the card printer or purse bureau, all of that is integrated in one platform. So you get an end-to-end solution with one partner. And the final one, and I think of it as the most important one, is most card issuing platforms are not just doing card issuing. They are payment platforms that provide collect or disperse, so you can collect funds, you can deposit funds on behalf of your beneficiary, you can do FX. So it is possible for a merchant to figure out what are the specific needs and build a solution that addresses all of their payment needs versus only issuing plastics. We've talked about what's card issuing, what it used to be, what's the current state, then and now. We've talked a little bit about the benefits of platforms as well. Now I want to switch a little bit and talk about use cases, new use cases that have come up with this evolved version of card issuers that are available. Internet companies, big or small, are flourishing in this day and age. And one of the things that they're aspiring to is to build an ecosystem. And of course, payments is typically part of any business. You're in it to get revenue out of it, right? So cards is an excellent way of making financial services as part of your business. Whether your customers are looking to purchase outside of your network, let's say someone who has a Grab wallet wants to purchase and something that's not available in a merchant who doesn't take the Grab wallet, they can use the Grab card to make that purchase. Similarly, when sellers receives funds from a marketplace, they have instant access, and it could be cross-border business, so multiple currency, but they have instant access to their money in a card that they can then use for their day-to-day operations, in whether it's for themselves or buying supplies, all of these pieces. So let me cover a few different use cases and a couple of examples against each of it. Building new products. I'm sure everyone here is aware of Revolut. Monzo, Revolut, they basically built a sleek mobile app and attached a card to it. Without the card, their value proposition would not have been as attractive because it wouldn't have been as usable. It limits the use case, right? Having a card not only opens up the market, the avenues in which you can transact, but it also increases the loyalty and stickiness that comes with it. MasterCard branded cards can be used in over 28 million stores right now. So there's definite value in connecting a card on top of your wallet, mobile wallets. Another example is, again, marketplaces. Online marketplaces are issuing their own branded cards and making it available to merchants, smaller merchants that are selling on it. And this enables both of them, right? They have lesser fees as it comes to disburse, and the smaller merchants have immediate access to their revenue and working capital that they can reinvent in their business. Provide financial services to your already existing customers. Grab is an excellent example of that. Grab, after had really won the rideshare business in the Southeast Asia, expanded also into financial services. They first started with the wallet, but realized soon enough that they need to attach a card to it in order to increase the value that they provide to their customers. So with a Grab card, a Grab user can use the balance not just in places where GrabPay is acceptable, but anywhere online or offline that MasterCard is enabled. Create employee or agent programs. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Think about Deliveroo, and think about ordering food from Deliveroo, and you enjoy that experience, but then you find out that your favorite restaurant that serves dumplings is not in the Deliveroo ecosystem, right? So you and maybe 10 others have given Deliveroo this feedback, and they want to bring this store, dumpling store, into into their platform. Now, this integration can take a bit of time. On an alternative, easier way for them to increase their value chain is to issue their driver partners with cards. And these cards can be used to make purchases. And there are numerous benefits to doing a program like this. One, you have clear transparency on what money is being spent. You can restrict the card such that it can only be used in a certain type of stores, restaurants, grocery stores, and such. You also have the ability to block ATM withdrawals, block eCommerce transactions. So in a way, it minimizes fraud, employee fraud from happening, and you have clear control over this. So agent programs are use cases that is going to explode in a few years using card issuing. As employee programs are very similar, you can imagine all of the benefits of using it as on the agent program as well as the employee program. But in this case, one of the examples that I often give is, imagine if you have a card and you're out shopping for the business and you find out that you're like $50 short. You can make a quick call back to your finance team and they can easily top up that wallet instead of you having to ferry back and forth with the missing amount. Similarly, transaction monetization and loyalty. Does anybody here have an Apple card? Apple has gotten into the business of payments, and a recent study published says that Apple Pay processes 5% of the global card volume currently, and it's on track to go up to 10%. That's 1 in 10 card payments are going through the Apple. So they've obviously figured out that transaction monetization is an area that they want to be in. With the card, they have a partnership with Goldman Sachs, and they've issued the titanium card, which is kind of like also a status symbol now. So it increases loyalty. There's transaction monetization to be done. And finally, an example on this is alternative finance. A really prominent example of buy now, pay later, which has currently exploded in the online channel, is Klarna's partnership with Marqeta. What Klarna does is it uses Marqeta's platform to issue virtual cards on a just-in-time basis and top it up with funds. This allows Klarna to provide a seamless user experience to its shoppers. And final example that I want to give to you about alternative finance is closer to home here. Lipay is first of its kind business wallet, which allows Southeast Asian real estate agents, has started here in Singapore, to receive their commissions faster. Now, if you're in real estate business or you have someone who works in that, you know that it can take anywhere between 6 to 12 months for you to get the sales commission after the deal is closed. What Lite does, it shortens the cycle and allows the sales agents the real estate agents to get their sales commission and cash it out. They've partnered with Rapyd to issue MasterCard branded cards, which the agents can now receive their commission and spend anywhere that MasterCard is accepted. It also increases transparency. There's data analytics based on the app that previously was not available to the agents. We've talked about use cases. Now I'm going to switch gears and talk a little bit about how long does it take in the new card issuing world to enable this. So I mentioned earlier that fintechs have done a fantastic job of simplifying this process with the scheme's support. And now, whereas in a decade ago, it could have taken anywhere between 6 to 9 months for an integration to complete, now it can be done in as little as 12 weeks from the point that you have a commercial agreement with a platform like Rapyd to actually having plastics in hand. There's usually 2 main work streams. One is integrating with the platform, so that if you're integrating with, say, Rapyd, then you would have to use the card issuing APIs, connect to that using your sandbox, complete the certification, and then you'll be live and ready to be able to issue cards. Parallelly, there's a work stream where you need to work with a perseverer or printer or embosser, whichever term you're more familiar with, in order to do a card design reflecting your branding, your logo, your colors, and then get that approved by the scheme, in this case MasterCard, and then get on to card production. Now, card production is the process of manufacturing the white plastic, and personalization is printing it with the relevant information. Your design, the card number, CVV, name, support information, and such. And 12 weeks later, you will have the cards in hand. Card manufacturing is actually on the critical path, because depending on your card size, it can take anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks for it to be complete. But the good news is, as soon as you're ready with the integration in your design, you can issue virtual cards and be good to go. It's the plastic card that takes the long pull. what do you need? What's kind of the minimum set of things that you need to be able to issue cards? You need to have a relationship with the networks. You need to be approved to be a BIN sponsor. You need the relevant licenses, the infrastructure, the relationship. You need to be able to do the reporting and follow the scheme rules and the guidelines. So these are the parts of the pieces. And if you're in the financial services, you're already halfway through some of these pieces. The next step is actually being able to process the flow of the card transaction as it goes through the 5-party model, from acquirer to the processor to the scheme to the gateway to you and then back. The whole chain may take a couple of rounds depending on what type of transaction it is. User onboarding. In payments, you have to know your users. KYC is an absolute requirement anytime there's money movement involved. And this is part of cards as well. Client portal. This is our way of referring to a dashboard where you'll be able to do all of the card lifecycle management, the transaction monitoring. If you need to download settlement reports, if you need to look at transaction history, look at analytics and see how your card is performing. And I have the aspects of card design here as well. We talked about card design and card production. On card fulfillment, it's essentially the process of receiving the card. It can be as simple as bulk order, where you get your 1,000 card order that you've placed, and you can get it in a matter of a day or two once the production is done, and you can receive it in hand. If you want individual fulfillment, like say your bank card that comes to you in mail with a letter that has some details about the issuer, then that takes a bit more time. And then there's also fancier ways of doing it, like Revolut. If you've seen the slider that the Revolut has, now that packaging itself has additional complexity and cost that can add up to a bit more time. Rapyd is a fintech as a service unicorn, and one of the things we do is make it easier for merchants and businesses to bake financial services into their everyday offering. Now, what is the Rapyd advantage is we are not just issuing cards. We're not just making client wallets for you. We have the ability to load funds in your wallet using over 900 payment methods across cards, across cash, across debit cards, in banks, and e-wallets, right? We also have the ability to disburse funds based on your beneficiary's preferred payment method, whether it is, again, card, cash, e-wallets, or banks. We allow you to move money between currencies, and which allows for an optimal experience for your cross-border transactions. And we also have transaction monitoring. We recently rolled out our risk management feature called Rapyd Protect. If you'd like additional information on this, you can go back to LinkedIn and take a look at it. We have some information on our YouTube channel as well on this. But essentially, Rapyd Protect provides an easy way for our clients and their relationship managers to make choices about the type of transactions that you would allow, whether you want to block ATM withdrawal for your card, or you want to limit it to eCommerce transactions only, or you want to have spending limits around something, or a card is lost and you want to block it immediately. All of these can be done using our client portal and Rapyd Protect fairly easily. We're also connected to 2 Perseveros ambassadors in the region that allows you to do the card design, production, as well as fulfillment. And we also provide guidelines based on what the scheme rules are, and also lessons learned from our own experiences with our other clients. For example, with one of our previous clients. We went to the final stages of the design, and then we were told that we had to have the term business on the front of the card, without which it would not get approved. We had a pretty interesting 24 hours in which we had to update the design, make sure our client was good with it, and then send it back to the scheme for approval and get it sorted. So that was good. Another interesting example is, have you guys tried to refund anything in Singapore and get the money back into your cards? So this was one of the use cases that I had to test for card issuing. And I went to 7 stores before I realized that most prefer to just give you money in cash, or they will give you vouchers for their stores. But it's literally like 2 places that I've found so far, H&M and Zara, that sends money back to your card. So things that I've learned as we've built card issuing in Singapore. Rapyd bridges the online and the offline world, the card and the non-card world, in a simple way through one integration that's easily available on cloud. So if you have interest in card issuing, do reach out to me and let's talk about it in more terms and try to understand what problem you're trying to solve, and we'll work from there. Thank you so much for being here. If you've enjoyed this presentation, we have others that are available on our YouTube channel as well as on our LinkedIn Live sessions. Please feel free to check it out, and thank you once again.